I'm just so tired. I'm so sleepy.
Oh, gosh.
I just want to sleep. Jesus, let me sleep.
I hate whenever, because I'll go on some yawn fit, and it has nothing to do with me being sleepy. It has nothing to do with me being bored. It has nothing to,
Your
but
brain
people
just needs
judge
oxygen.
you if you yawn, going, oh, well, I guess you're bored. It's like, no, I don't know. This is an involuntary reaction.
Your brain needs more oxygen is basically what
They
it is.
say that, but if I inhale like a lot, I'll still yawn. Like, it has nothing to do with
if you're thinking about it, you will. I'm
as
fighting
we're talking
one off.
about
yeah.
it. I'm trying to fight off.
I'm
one
fighting
right
a yawn off right now.
Plus, they are addictive. Like when someone yawns, you yawn.
It is.
How many? All right, if
it
you're
is.
listening right now and you just yawned,
Send us an email.
Send us an email.
Let us know you yawned.
I think they proved that on MythBusters. They were
We
doing.
have to stop talking about this. I'm about to yawn.
They were like in front of each other, and then they would see someone yawn, and they tested on how many other people would yawn. But then they even did it to where if you're in a separate room and you can't even see the person, they were wondering, is it like somehow you just know?
Ooh.
It was something weird. I can't remember how that concluded,
Oh,
but
that's
it was
wild.
interesting.
So like that you would just sense someone was
Yeah,
yawning in a
and all of a
different
sudden,
room.
yeah, it's like it's contagious like that. I don't know.
How was your spring break, Shannon?
It was good.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Next Day podcast. I mean, it's obviously like
The next day on your discipleship journey.
I'm Chad.
I'm Christie.
And it's just us two today.
Aw.
We're just and our imaginary friend Shannon.
Hi.
Hi, it's me.
Shannon, what's the traffic report today?
I don't really have one today. I mean, I'm trying to think. I felt like it was relatively easy going. I mean, had you stayed in town this past week, you were probably breezing through the freeways. But now we're back into life, back into reality,
So
all
tough.
home.
Back into all the things. And you traveled out of town?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
We went to Chandler was my date to my cousin's wedding, my oldest daughter.
Aw.
And so we went to Apalachicola, Florida. And then,
That's
Well,
how-
that sounds-
Is
Yeah,
that
well,
how it's pronounced?
well, pretty much, it's like something out of Deliverance, like so anyway, we did that, and my cousin's, like my baby cousin, he's 34, but he got married, and it was super sweet.
Aw.
And then my husband had driven up our other two kids to Pensacola, and my parents dropped Chandler and I off over there. And we got to hang out in Pensacola, Florida. The whole week.
Amazing.
So
Yeah, that's
it was
nice.
amazing.
That's where clear water, the white
Yeah.
crystal.
Is it good weather?
Yeah.
It was good weather, and we were by a bay, which was lovely. So the kids would like get up and kayak on this like really shallow little bay, which was great. Like I wasn't having a panic attack about them like flying into the ocean and stuff.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what did you do?
no panic attacks.
And you know, whenever you see seagulls flying over the bay, they're called bagels.
I noted.
Did you know that?
I did not know
Yeah.
that. Bagels. Okay.
Oh my gosh, bagels! I love it. We stayed in town. I worked, and we went to the rodeo one night,
And you loved it.
it wasn't fun, but it wasn't like not fun.
Yeah.
It was just like very overstimulating, and there were too many people, and I would like to have a do-over at some point.
What was the unhealthy thing you ate?
We all shared a funnel cake.
Ooh,
And,
nice.
well, actually, Jesse decided last minute he wanted churros, not funnel cake, and refused to try the funnel cake. And then Emmy wanted a churro, and Jesse was trying to, like, not let her get one, and then he dropped all of the churros on the ground.
Oh, bless.
And then he cried. And then we were like, let's go. And then we had
5-second rule.
We had Denny's for dinner because it was like 8:30
Denny's
and
is
everything.
winner.
Yes, everything closed at like 9. Everywhere we were looking, it was like
Hey,
closes at 9. Closes at 9.
That's our sponsor, Denny's. When everything else is shut down, come
Go
to
to
Denny's.
Denny's.
Anyway, we went to Denny's because I don't know why everyone was just kind of like, we couldn't decide on what we wanted, and we were like, what about Denny's? And everybody was like, yeah, and it was the most fulfilling meal. Like we were all like, I am so
Did you
glad
get a
we
grand
went here.
slam?
I did. I got
You
a
had a
build
grand
your
slam.
own.
Ooh, a build your own grand slam.
Anyway, and we started renovations on our kitchen this week.
Oh,
So
that's
I am
exciting.
now living in a construction zone.
Yeah. I mean, have a microwave on a different area of the house or something. And
Yeah.
just winging it. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
very nice.
Chad?
I worked.
Yay!
The biggest thing I've been telling people is like the thing I got a break from was meetings because we didn't have any of our standing
bet.
staff meetings. So I'm
That's
like, you know
true.
what? I actually got to sit down and get work done. It
I
was
bet.
nice.
Whoa,
It was
interesting.
pretty nice and it was very rewarding.
I wrote my sermon on a Tuesday last week.
Whoa.
Yeah. Getting stuff done,
It
kids.
was crazy.
Yeah.
I heard that the things are very clean. Like Elizabeth was telling me how clean
Yes.
the office is, like main office is and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
cleaned
like-
out a closet, the big closet in the office.
There's a lot of spring cleaning.
The
Yeah.
workroom got
Yeah.
cleaned. Cleaned up a Google Drive. So things you don't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
dusting up
really-
that technology. you
yes,
know?
it was great. We did a lot of cleanup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the most other thing I was able to catch up on. I was able to see all Best Picture nominated movies except for one.
Wow.
But over spring break, I know I saw Frankenstein and Hamnet and The Secret Agent. So
Okay.
yeah, I was able to see all those. So it was very fun.
Haven't heard of any of those.
You haven't heard of any of
None
those?
of
Hey,
those.
hey, guess what? K-pop Demon Hunters won Best Animation.
Yay!
And their song Golden won for
Yeah.
Best Song.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't
Oh.
seen- oh, Christy would go on some long
We'll
rant.
talk offline.
Okay. Now, what was your favorite out of the movies you saw?
Well, for Best Picture, it was definitely Sinners.
Sinners?
Yeah.
Okay.
As a church person, you know, you
All you sinners.
if y'all you have to watch it just for the soundtrack. It's just amazing music throughout that whole thing. But yeah, but Sinners, and here's a good one for anyone: Best Live Action Short. Live action short. It is called. It sounds like Sinners, but it's The Singers. The Singers. They actually tied to win. There's like a tie during the Oscars, but it's on Netflix, and it is such a fun, delightful, emotional, funny, just a mix of all in a short film, and it has good music in it too. So I highly recommend that to anybody. It's very family friendly. I mean, it takes place at a bar, but like other than that, like it's a very family friendly, fun movie.
It's a family friendly bar.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So
I love that.
wait, I don't think there's any curse words. I don't know. Don't hold me to that.
Chad said.
Don't hold me
Chad
to
said
that.
watch
It was
I don't
family
know.
friendly.
I mean,
Chad.
the music's all good, but like I don't know if there's. Oh well. Anyways, but yeah. So I mean, is that our icebreaker? I guess is
That
like
sounds
spring
like
break.
it.
And, I mean, we get to play Activate with students, and
How was that? Was that fun?
It was fun. Yeah. It's always fun. We always go in there with new students who haven't done it before, so they're just like completely like, "What is this?" And for those who don't know, Activate's just a very interactive.
Like video
kind of
game.
You say video game, but it's like you are in the video game. So like some rooms have the floors
You
light
have to,
up,
like,
and you have
do
to step on
things.
certain colored tiles on the floor, or you have to dodge it, or you have to touch these buttons on a wall.
So
and
it's not.
It's just constant.
It's sort of like an escape room meets a video game.
I mean, maybe.
elements.
or like full on virtual reality kind of thing.
I mean,
like
but
more
you
like
don't
not,
have a headset, yeah.
right?
But it's
like,
not
like your whole
virtual.
body.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's just
you enter into a world.
Every room
physically.
has different kind of games, and some of them have you more thinking. Some of them are just like kind of basketball goals, and you're just trying to make as many baskets. And they all have different games. I mean, it's just hard to describe, but it's really fun. We saw some church members there just hanging out.
No way.
During spring break, and I thought, "Oh, are y'all here for us?" They're like, "No, we're just here to play." And I was like, "Oh, cool."
Oh.
So yeah,
fun.
it's a really fun thing. But yeah, you have to do that. All right. Well, let's get into talking about the sermons, as this is what this podcast is about.
Yes, it
apparently.
is,
I
actually.
don't know. It's what it's about. The next
Wow.
day.
Yeah, we're like 20 minutes in. And,
Yeah. No, only 9. So there we go. Only 9. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the sermons you got to hear yesterday. Maybe if you got to go to the Element, you got to hear Christie. If you went to West Campus, Carl. At the traditional service, you got to hear Preston. Or if you happen to come to Courage, you get to hear me. Hey. But on the podcast, you'll be able to listen to the other venues on there. And yeah, so, but we're in our Lenten series where we're looking at in the pressing. And this is all taking place at Gethsemane, the garden of the oil press.
That's right.
Wait, olive press.
Yes.
The garden of the olive press.
Oil press. Is
it oil or is it olive?
It's oil press. It's where they press
of the oil press.
olives into oil. Yeah. But it's called an oil press.
Yeah. And so, which I never knew that till this series.
I know. I didn't
you
either.
never hear about that. You just, it's a garden and yes, Olive Garden. Okay.
I know. Well,
it's an Olive Garden.
It's like just another.
It had all the breadsticks.
Well, it's like, okay.
When
it's
you hear
like
your family.
When you hear these, like what these names mean, and it just like blows your mind because you've, kind of started putting all of the theology behind the scenes and the places and all of that together and the story. Like learning that Bethlehem means house of bread just blew my mind because it's like, oh my gosh, the bread of life born in the house of bread. Like what? It was just, it's just like a little detail that's just so.
It's like you're dipping the bread in some olive oil now. It's like this whole story. It's like
all
like this.
Carino's or something. No, but I mean, and then, the oil, this being like an oil press, and just considering, we've talked about this a lot. And actually this coming week, I will talk more about this. Because I think this week we're going to focus, for me anyway, focusing in the story of like the most pressing, in the story is what Jesus is, the prayer that Jesus is praying over and over in the story. But learning that like this whole scene happens in a place that means the oil press, and knowing like, okay, what that process looks like for olives to be pressed into oil, and considering the way that like Jesus is in this like pressing and crushing time, but like oil is used for anointing and daily use in the society, but like it's always the used for an anointing anytime there's anointing in scripture, and it's always olive oil.
And it's a game changer for slip and slides.
It is.
I mean, you just keep going.
They didn't have baby oil back then.
Oh yeah.
What baby oil? How is that made?
I don't know.
No.
So diapers. Anyways.
But we got to hear about, and I've heard this before because I guess it happened not too long ago. But we learned in the element to never trust Christie in an emergency. Oh. Because she is just she's going to be the one who panics the most and just freaks everybody out.
It's completely true.
And because she shared that story of, because when did this happen? Because this happened recently, because I remember when you were telling me, I was like, wait a minute, this sounds so familiar.
It was fairly recent. It was in our old house, so it wasn't like since we've been in the new house, which we moved in October. It was in our old house. I think it was like around the time we started, at least we were in the process of moving, or like we knew that was coming or something like that. Because I remember thinking like, do we need to disclose that this alarm is faulty, in our, house disclosure and all of that. But basically I told the story of when an alarm in our house went off in the middle of the night, and it was like our carbon monoxide and smoke alarm. And a fire does scare me. Like a fire in the house is scary, obviously. But I think I have been always just so terrified of carbon monoxide because it's like the silent killer.
It is.
You don't
and
know.
you hear these horror stories, like these stories of it.
Friend's dad.
I just
so it is scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And so we've had, and it's kind of funny because I grew up my entire life. My parents never had a carbon monoxide detector in our house, and like ever, and never cared about it, never thought about it. And like since I've been married to Justin, I feel like I've been more aware of carbon monoxide, probably because he's like, we have to be aware of this.
Yes.
And
Hello, 6.
Yeah. So he's like, we have to be aware of this. So like I've been hyper aware. So anyway, I knew we had this like duo alarm. And so it wasn't that I was worried about like a fire in the house. It was carbon monoxide that I was like, it's the carbon monoxide like detector. I didn't smell smoke. I'm like, that's what it is. And from what I know of carbon monoxide is like it'll just take you out in seconds. Like you don't have any time at all.
Yeah.
And so when this alarm went off in the middle of the night, I was so freaked out. I mean, like I woke up instantly, like instant panic, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, like instant panic. And I was like, oh my God, we have to get out of the house. And I'm like,
Kids!
I like jump out of bed.
Don't take deep breaths.
Run. I run through the like downstairs of the house and I'm opening doors and windows. And then I'm like, we have to get the kids. And I like run upstairs.
And is
and I'm
Justin
like,
just like sitting up in bed?
Justin, I think he was
He's
probably
just like, what's
trying
going
to
on?
talk, reason with me, because the thing is that this alarm had like gone off at
Before?
other times,
Yeah.
like during the day. And for some reason, like during the day, it's less scary. At night, middle of the night, it's terrifying. And so, I guess he like was kind of thinking, I think this alarm is faulty.
Right.
He's just the calm processor. I mean, in the relationship, he's the one that you want in an emergency situation because he's not going to just like, he's going to be very aware of like what needs to happen, but he's calm about it. I am not, obviously. So I'm like running upstairs and I'm like, Justin, we have to get the kids. We have to get everyone out of the house. And I'm like freaking out. I get to Emmy's room and I'm like standing over her and beginning to like wake her up, but she's so sleepy. I don't think she actually like woke up, but she's starting to wake up. I'm like, Emmy. And then I'm like, oh gosh. Oh, it's happening. I'm graying out. And
Here we go.
so I
Save yourselves.
I start
Everyone save yourselves. It's too late for me. No.
I like need Justin to know, like, so I'm like, I don't want to like, pass out in front of her or whatever's going to happen to me.
Look away.
And I need Justin. I'm like, Justin. And I'm sitting at the top of the stairs, just like, like just gray and like my hearing's going. And I'm like, Justin, I can't
You're having
move.
a full-on panic attack.
Yes. Because the alarm was faulty. There was no carbon monoxide or smoke or anything.
There's only a lot of carbon dioxide from her.
Yes. So I was having a full-on panic attack. So I'm like sitting at the top of the stairs, just like cold sweat, like unable to move. I've called out to Justin. The kids are still asleep, thankfully. And he's like, hey, come on, let's get downstairs, puts me back in bed, gets me some water. He's like, you had a panic attack. Everything's fine. And I'm like, so the part I didn't tell about this story is that this happened again. I think it was the same night or it was another night, but it has happened again. And I woke up in a panic again, and I knew that the alarm was faulty. So like when I woke up in a panic, but like knew that it was not.
But
I knew it was a faulty alarm, and I still had a panic attack sitting in my bed. I just
y'all need to get rid of that alarm.
Well, we moved to a different house. We got rid of the house.
That's kind of like so.
There you
That's
go. The
just
alarm
like
too can all go.
that was just like when I was in junior high. We would have the fire alarm. Now here it is, our big middle school and all this, and like the fire alarm would go off, and it would go off quite often, and then you would soon after you would hear the announcements go off. Just disregard that. That is a false alarm. And it would happen. I mean, maybe like 3 times a week. It happened all the time.
Gosh.
And then all of a sudden it went off. And then when it went off, we're just all sitting in our
little
rooms.
boy that cried
And then the
wolf.
principal goes to the hallway. Y'all, like, this is not a drill. Like, this is actually, there's a little fire over here. Y'all need to, there's like, well, how are we supposed to, there's a false alarm every
So
single
many
day, it
times,
seems
yeah.
like. So this whole story and all that is you saying being prepared and being prepared for emergencies in life, being prepared. And so this all tied into, because what we're talking about here is when Jesus again catches his disciples sleeping for the 3rd time, by the way, the 3rd time. And he's trying to tell them, like, being prepared because look, my cat,
Get up.
like, yeah, like
It's happening.
yeah, like I'm about to be arrested. All this is happening. So his whole point of getting them to pray and all of this is like being prepared for what's about to come next. And yet they just couldn't handle it. Like they were just falling asleep. They weren't seeing what it was all about.
I kind of
They didn't get it.
And I feel like I imagine in this story, because like if you walk through the Gospels with the disciples and with Jesus talks about what's going to come like frequently. And it's like there's no day or hour, and then he'll, he even is very explicitly like, I'm going to die.
Right.
And then I'm going to raise again from the dead in 3 days. And it's like they just didn't hear that part, or like they don't.
Yeah,
you
whatever.
know, or just like
Well,
it's
that's
a
weird.
metaphor.
I'm sure that means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Jesus has talked through all of this stuff. And so I feel like if I'm putting myself in the place of the disciples, it's like, first of all, they are just physically tired.
Yeah.
And
They had a lot to eat.
yeah,
a lot of wine to drink. A lot of wine.
you know, like I feel like they're really out of it. And Jesus is like, it's the, you know, this is going to happen. And they're like, yeah, I know you've said that. Like, we know this is going to happen. But like, you've said that for years,
but
you know, like.
Also, like, I mean, I would think it was like, you know, Jesus was probably a little stressed. But I mean, we're told in scripture, right? Like rest in the Lord, right? Or something. So maybe in some ways it was like a response of like, there's nothing they can do to prevent what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of beyond their control, and they're being told like it's coming, you know?
Yeah.
But like, so all you can do is just take a little siesta, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I mean, you know, like,
self-preservation.
Yeah.
well, maybe, or just like that, you know, he was with them, right? Like, so they just, it's like almost like a little child, like you're comforted by that or something.
Right,
maybe.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
No,
I'm
I
sure they're
mean,
just like, well, like if you, Jesus, you're God, like you're not going to let anything bad happen
Right.
to you. Like,
Yeah.
what was there to worry
What are
about?
we worried
Go
about
run
here?
across the water again. Like,
Yeah.
get away.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and it is interesting. You just wonder what the headspace was for the disciples, because they did get scared later, you know, because then it was like, oh, wait a minute, like this is it is happening,
Right.
you know. They scatter. They're like, they see their teacher die, you know, be killed, you know, and so all of this is going to happen. Obviously, none of this is in the garden story, but it's like we're in this, you know, little vacuum of the garden right now, and it's just trying to put yourself in the place of what were the disciples thinking, you know, what was going through their minds? Was it that they were not concerned because their teacher was going to take care of it like he always has, or like was it this like, well, you know, this is gonna happen at some point, but not tonight, you know, not right now.
Yeah.
And I think like that's kind of where my head was at as I was reading this story, was like, because we are also talking about Mark 13, which is we flipped over to there, which is the Olivet Discourse, which is where Jesus is on the Mount of Olives and he's talking to the disciples about all that is to come. And it's a really like eschatology is a seminary term that is about the study of like the theology of the end of times, and you know, after we die, you know, what is that like? You know, the end of the world, all of the things, and it's a very like it's a highly studied piece in the world of eschatology. Mark 13, the Olivet Discourse, because not only is Jesus talking about all of these things that are going to come in the end of the age, and destruction and wars. Like this is where, you know, people that are like doomsdayers will like, you know, just really zero in on this. But they also, Jesus is standing on the Mount of Olives, which is the place that the prophet Zechariah prophesies that Jesus will return, like his feet will come back down to the Mount of Olives and stand there when Jesus comes back again. So it's a really like important piece of scripture. It's a very, you know, it's very tied to that Old Testament prophecy, very much like mysterious, and the like, what is that? What does this mean? What does it look like? You know, when people have studied it, they pore over it. Nobody knows.
Some
and
people,
Jesus literally is like,
some
no
people
one knows.
they do the math and they figure it out, right?
Yeah, and then it's 2012. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and that's what I talked about in mine, because when we looked at it, you know, because it is weird to think of, because that verse in Mark, Jesus is having to talk about this, because isn't it strange that people are like, oh yeah, Jesus, you're the Messiah. When are you going to come again, Jesus? It's like, but I'm here right now.
Here,
like
yeah.
it's like, why are y'all worried about this? Like, what do
Yeah.
you? But it's so strange. But that was something that even Paul had to write about in some of his letters, because some people were like, oh well, the second coming, he'll be here soon.
Yeah.
And it's just like, y'all, like, you still have a job to do. Like there's people hungry. There's widows need help
Right.
and all this. And but yeah, I talked about how. Like the one that just saying, because it happened last year, didn't it? Like, was it in the
It
last
happens
spring?
all the time.
But wasn't it in spring, like somebody predicted the end of times?
so.
Every time somebody predicts like the end time, like the date, I'm just like, well, it's not that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, it can't be that one because
It's gonna be like a random
because
Tuesday,
you know.
because if
because
you
know, and so therefore.
And if God has told us like no one, Jesus is like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
right? Right.
I don't. Only the Father knows. I don't even
But aren't
know.
you the Father? Well, it's complicated.
Let's talk about the Trinity.
The Trinity is complicated.
Jesus didn't even know.
But yeah, and so I brought up the December 21st of 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the one that always stands out to me, because there's the movie 2012 and
That was
all
one of my
this.
friends' birthdays.
That's my sister's birthday. And so, and that's why I was sitting here lots of, I thought they were funny text messages. I don't think she appreciated it. And also Sable's birthday is the next day. And so I was just like, I don't have to get you any gifts because
The world's gonna end.
But she's like, no, like, but anyways.
I need them early, please.
Yeah. But yeah, it was funny when I brought that up, I saw all the adults in the room just kind of went, yeah, we remember that.
Yeah.
But I talked about it because we had a student, I was serving at a different church, and we had a student who was very concerned. Like, he brought it up going, so what is all this about? Like, I keep hearing that the end of the world's happening and the Mayans and the calendar. Like, he was concerned and he kept hearing about it all. And so we had a whole study about it where we read these passages like from Mark and other places, and kind of what we just decided on was like, well, from this, do y'all think we'll ever really know? No. Well, even if we did know, what should we do? Keep living like Jesus lived. Like, keep doing that. Yeah, does that mean we just stop? Like, I equated it to like senioritis.
Yeah.
Like, or when people just check out or
Yes.
something, they're just kind of like, well, I'm just not going to do it.
Whatever.
It's not, no, you still have a job to do, right? You still have things to do. And so that's the same thing with us. Like, even if we did know when the end of times is going to be, doesn't mean we stop doing what we're doing. Like, Jesus is calling them, hey, my life is about to end, but I'm still praying. I'm still doing all this.
Knowing humanity, too, you know that people would be like, oh, I have till then?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah. I'll just wait
It's
until.
like
that.
knowing when your next dentist appointment is and you
yeah.
floss like the day before, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh, I got to make sure I get that in. Have you been flossing? Yes.
Yes, I
I could tell you've only flossed the day before you came in.
Yeah. That's kind of, this connection to Mark 13 that we talked about, right? Is like, Jesus is telling the disciples in this moment, like, wake up. And he's been telling them, wake up. It is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I kept saying, this is not a drill. Like, it is happening. And in Mark 13, he's saying, like, stay alert, stay awake, be awake, do not fall asleep to, what you are called to do, because, like, you don't know when the time is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
Like, live every single day like it is the last day,
Mm-hmm.
like it's the day that Jesus is coming back. Live every day like that, with that kind of urgency.
And I equated that to like being an understudy in theater, and I've seen people where they were like understudy for like 2, 3, maybe even 4 characters. They never know when they're going to go on.
Yeah.
But they're ready. And sometimes they may never go on. They may never get called to go on and perform.
Right.
But they're ready for it. Like, and that's their
really
job.
good.
And so we need to have that same sense of like, I am ready. Like, I am still going to do this job. It's not waiting. I'll just wait till later. Like,
Yeah. Right. And I think we just kind of get complacent in our lives, like, I kind of wonder, thinking of like the whole alarms kind of thing was just where my headspace was at. But like, what is it going to take, in your life? And maybe you're like, I'm in a really good spot right now, but sometimes we need a wake up call.
Yeah.
And we all get there. What is that wake up call? What is that going to take? Is it just hearing like, oh, I need to start reordering my life. I've gotten to where my life is out of order. Christ is not at the center. That's really apparent. I do need to, I need to do that. So often it's like some catastrophe that happens,
where you see humanity,
right.
like giving its best truly to one another. But
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of the workers in the vineyard, the parable of that. And I remember having conversations with students about this because, and that one is, there are workers out there very early in the morning. And then you have some who come in about mid-morning and some at noon and some in the mid-afternoon, and they all get paid the same. But whenever we bring up the conversation to students like, well, which one of these workers would you want to be? And like, which one do you think is better? It's beautiful that the later workers, the people who got called in at the very end, it's beautiful that they were asked to come and they got paid. And it shows us that God doesn't play favorites. But then someone may be thinking, well, then what's the point of coming in early in the morning? What's the point of being those people? And it's like, I get that it's hard to think of that in terms of work.
Right.
like out doing laboring work. If you're out digging a ditch all day, I get that that's not the most pleasant. But when we think about it in terms of our calling and God
Purpose.
Calling us, and
Yeah.
man, those people who got there early, man, we shouldn't be looking at it as if it's a chore. It's like, man, what a blessing and opportunity they had
Right.
to honor God way longer. And those people at the very end, there's no guarantee they were going to get called into the field.
Right.
And so you kind of run that risk. It's like, why not? You have the opportunity now to do this. So don't wait. And I had a friend in high school, and I don't know if he ever stuck to this. He verbalized it one time. And he just kind of said, yeah, what I'm planning to do is just live it up until I'm on my deathbed, and then I'll pray for forgiveness.
Oh my.
And I'm just like, we see the beauty of like the other criminal on the cross, and Jesus says, you are welcome into paradise. So I do believe that, yes, I think God's grace is there. But
right.
man,
Can you take it for granted like that?
Yeah, but why would you miss out on this opportunity? Like, you're seeing church and being a Christian and being the church as a chore and something you just don't want to do. And it's like, that shouldn't be your attitude. You should be like, I want to be a part of this.
It's not just ritual of like, okay, forgive me. Like, God knows your heart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're never guaranteed, like, even if there were like some sort of you had a very sincere prayer in your heart, like, you're not guaranteed that.
Right.
If you ever been in a car wreck, I've been in a car wreck before and I was okay, but man, that happens so fast.
Right.
And there's no time of thinking.
Right.
There's no time, like, it just happens really quick. So you just never know what's going to happen.
Right. So yeah. Be ready.
Be ready, yeah.
Be prepared. Stay awake. And it's not about the ritual. It's not about like, and now I do think rituals are helpful, you know, like they help you, they're a rhythm, right? They help you to like center yourself. But it's not about the ritual. It's about the heart. Like what, and sometimes we do need to order our lives in a way so that we are less distracted, and we are more focused on Christ. And, it is discipline. There's a lot of work involved in it. And ultimately I think Lent, we're right smack dab in the middle of Lent. We've got just a couple weeks and then it's Easter, 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks till Easter.
Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way.
That's right. So it's like Lent is this time, it's intentional time for you to remember all of these things, like to remember your it starts on Ash Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
To remember your mortality, like to remember like we have no control over that, like really,
you are but dust. We've been saying this.
But dust.
We've been telling y'all you are but dust.
And then throughout the season of Lent, just like reminding ourselves over and over, like how desperately we need Jesus in our lives. And, what a mess we would be without Jesus in our lives, and how we could never have, gotten this, achieved righteousness for ourselves ever. We could never deserve this. And yet this like grace is so freely given to us. So just like putting all of that, we do spiritual practices, we give up things, we, create space that is distraction free so that we can really focus in and reorder our lives and recenter ourselves on Jesus in this season intentionally, because life becomes like that, like droning fire alarm that you're like, oh, this is false. It's false. It's not real. And we don't pay attention to it. I think this is a season where we can go, okay, I need to pay attention to this. And hopefully it sticks, but if not, if we get to the next Lent, there's another opportunity to intentionally slow down and reorder things again.
My husband and I were listening to one of his sports podcast people, and they have a sports show in Dallas, and then they have a podcast on the side too. And they were talking, they played this like clip of this coach, this one guy really respected or something. And it was like, they had lost, I think he was from like Texas Tech or something, basketball coach or whatever. But he was like, it was kind of religious, like what he said about it. And it was really beautiful about like how they had really learned to give like 100% to each other. And then it became a debate amongst the podcast guys of like, can you give 100%? Like, to your family, to your faith, to your, and like, and so it kind of reminds me a bit of what you're saying here of like reprioritizing, like, where would you give that? Because yes, we're pulled in a billion directions, especially if you have like lots of little people, and like, and so,
experience.
Yeah, just saying. And so, yeah, like to take this time intentionally and like, and do the rituals, do the practices to reprioritize.
And that's why, like, anytime we heard, like, wherever that happened last time when that guy was predicting when the end of times was going to be, and your thoughts should just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep being the church. Like, I'm just going to keep doing, like, so I don't know if that's supposed to try to quickly scare people into like repenting and all that. I don't know if that's.
I don't
but
think
it's just like
it should be
like
fear.
We as a church should just be like, all right, y'all, we still have a job to do. Like we don't stop being the church. Yeah.
I remember hearing, it was actually Pat who used to say, I don't want to scare the hell out of people, but I want to. Or not scare the hell out of people, but like preach heaven into people is like basically what he would say.
Yeah.
Which is, I think people do try to go that route of like just,
for sure.
Scare, to scare people into submission.
I think religious trauma exists for a reason.
Yes, it does.
I still remember when I was little, my family, we all went to go see this play at this church, Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames.
Oh my gosh.
And maybe that's a story for another day. It was like all sorts of stuff that I still think about it going, wait, they taught us that? Like,
the Left Behind movies.
Oh yeah,
traumatized me.
No, and that's still like this misconception. A lot of people think that's what it's going to be like, but y'all like that came from a fictional book series, and like Scripture doesn't say most about all that.
It's an interpretation, sure. You can call that an interpretation all you want, but that's all that it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's so much mystery around it, but it does not change that we are to be ready and living every single day like it's that day.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Speaking of which, what did you learn about wake up that you just could not include into your sermon about wake up?
Oh, thank you.
Arise.
Yeah. No, It's the okay. So when Jesus says, "Get up," and let's go because my betrayer is here. The hour's at hand. All of that. That word in the Greek is the same word that is used when they go to the tomb to go in and embalm Jesus's body and all of that with spices. And then the angel says, he's not here, he's risen. And risen is like,
same word for he is risen is what Jesus says.
Jesus tells the disciples to do.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Get up. Yeah.
So I was like, in the future, when I preach this inevitably again, we're going a different direction. Because I was like, that is good. Also, like, the pattern of words there, I've got to do more research on it, but it says, it kind of just follows this pattern of the hour is at hand, my betrayer is coming, I'm going to be delivered into the hands of sinners. And I looked at all these Greek words and like it's so interesting, this little piece right here. And then he says, get up because my betrayer is coming, the hour is at hand. And it just like does this pattern. And I just noticed the word patterns, and there's something there that is good, but we'll have to excavate it later.
Next season.
Yeah, next season on Lent. Well, no. And so, this has been a really good, it's been so interesting that we've been able to get, all of this from this one passage, right? Just kind of breaking down this one passage of being in the Garden of Gethsemane. But just seeing all these different things and what we can learn from it. So we have one more week of that.
That's right.
And then we go into Palm Sunday, which is the beginning of Holy Week. And that just, has its own journey, right?
Yeah.
Holy Week just has its own, because it really is like it starts off this cheerful, joyful, Hosanna, Hosanna, kids and everyone waving palm leaves. But then we quickly get to Good Friday, and it's just this sad, and Holy Week just takes you on this journey. Encourage y'all to keep listening to the This Day podcast. Listen to all the different devotionals that our church members are writing to help you take you on that journey for the rest of Lent and then even during Holy Week. So, but yeah. So let's see. Our ministry shout out is going to be
our care team, which
Nice.
some of you know about our care team. Maybe we've talked about it here on the podcast before. And care is a very large umbrella in the church, and it covers so many different ministries that you see in the church, from people receiving prayer quilts or baby blankets that were crocheted, for people that are being visited, all sorts of different things, just tons of different
cards. I mean, just cards, yeah.
But the care team is the ones that they go through, and anybody who has submitted prayer requests about things, people that are going through illnesses and stuff, they are on the care list for this care team, unless they have marked that it's a confidential request. And the care team will write letters to them, cards to them every single week.
Mm-hmm.
I know I talk to people who are like, I have gotten just, I don't know, like dozens of cards from the care team. People that don't go to the church, people that do go to the church, they've sent them across the globe. Honestly, they've sent them. I know. I remember they sent one to a church member's dad living in London. But they send them all over the place and just keep these people in their prayers all the time. And it's just such a beautiful thing to know that your church family is praying for you. And it's just something they desire to do. A lot of the people that are on the care team received cards at one time from.
And almost every meeting
things.
they get thank you cards for their card to send. And so it's always nice to see people are like, people they really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it matters.
And in a large church like ours, it's so important to have people that are, involved in care. Because there is only so much that we can do as pastors and in shepherding.
We wouldn't know half of what's happening. It is,
it's a lot. So we're just really, really grateful for that team. And they're always looking for new people to write cards. And there's, I think, currently one man on the team.
We need to set that up, because I'm sure that would mean a lot just if, I don't know, like if a guy is going in for surgery and... It doesn't mean you have to be exclusive like guys write to guys, but it's just maybe they get something from a guy. And I'm sure that means something.
Or a dad going through a divorce or something.
Yeah.
You know?
All
it
sorts
coming
of
from
things.
So having more, and all it really is yes, you need to attend this meeting so you kind of know what's happening. Sometimes people attend on Zoom. But or maybe you could look at the list ahead of time if you can't make the meeting, but you just kind of request, which I think most people, what do you think they do? 3 cards
something like
a week,
that.
3 or 4. Some people are very eger to do a lot of them. You just write a card. We have stamps for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And So it's a very special ministry, and so I'm really glad that we could give that one a shout out. So all right, well, Shannon.
This has been great.
Any other
no, I mean, I
traffic reports?
I'm fresh out.
The weather is cold.
The weather is cold.
It's nice and cool.
But it will warm up later on in the week. I can do weather.
Oh, you're going to do weather now.
Our weather girl.
Nice.
I'll do weather. That makes more
it.
sense.
And you do sports, Christie.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I think of
Sports
sports,
ball.
I think of Christie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most people do.
The team did the thing, and they got the score point.
Yeah.
Yay!
One loss.
The sports ball.
Sports ball is great.
It
Go
is.
sports ball.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next week on the Next Day podcast.
See you next time.
Bye.